Okay, another stage. We're into the last portion of the game. From this point on, everything is sci-fi themed. It has these weird space backgrounds, and there will be more sci-fi stuff showing up as we go. Yet another stage where I have to collect every single key to get out. And this one, all the walls you have to pass through are illusions. Isn't that fun? So I get to bump up against walls for a while, trying to find my way to the doors and keys. Constantly pressing on, is this the way? Is this the way? Not the most exciting of stages, even for one with a gimmick. Because there's barely even any monsters to fight in here. And they're all boxed into areas where I have to be cautious approaching them. And it's all ghosts on this stage. Ghosts are about the most unthreatening monster they have in this game. Except maybe the cactuses, and that's only because the cactuses are cactuses. There's only so much threatening you can do as a cactus. I mean, yeah, they hurt if you walk into one, but you're not going to be, wandering the desert and go, oh no, a cactus jumped right out at me. Although these bedsheet-looking guys aren't exactly a whole lot better. Was that a slime monster? Yes, it was. Hey, there's somebody else on this stage. At least we know where the next door I have to go through is. I'm doubling back, checking to see if there's any possible way I can get some more keys before I go on. The way I was pressing up against walls there, I just decided backing off was the better way to go. monsters. We'll be seeing a lot of those guys soon. In a way that you would not expect. Finally out of this stage, what a pain, and into the worst stage in the game. I'm going to give it a few moments here so you can take a good look at it. It is a literal maze of slime monsters. If you move off the 1 square wide path, then you are jumped by hundreds of them in an open area. It's essentially instant death. Now, if you are clever and don't want to do it the hard way like I'm doing, because the hard way is much faster, what you can do is you can carefully edge your way to a wall and then drop pots of money to build yourself a nice little chamber that you can lure them all into and kill them one at a time. That process takes about 20 minutes. But it is a better option than wandering this maze and getting killed. Because, of course, this is going to be... Well, how far into this game are we now? We're about 2.5 hours into this game. Even if you came in from level 20, it's over an hour of gameplay to get here. I'm moving in these short little bursts because one little misstep is all it takes. And of course, you have to get every single key in the maze to get out. Trying to align myself with the slime monsters. You don't have to be perfect, but you have to be close. And that's kind of the worst situation right there, because I just cannot tell for sure. Two more keys to find. I have to confess, the first time I went through this game, it took me well over an hour to beat it. And that was, you know, using an emulator and save states. I mean, this stage in particular. This is pretty bad. Now, after the nightmare of the last stage, this stage is really simple. Set of chambers, keys, treasure to collect. The thing about it here is that there isn't really anything worth it. It's stuff like repel scrolls, there's a couple blast scrolls, a lot of revive scrolls in the area for whatever reason. Since I don't really care about any of that stuff, I'm pretty much walking straight to the exit. There's no heal items. Okay, another level where it's heavily dependent on secret doors. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of that in the next couple stages, if I remember correctly. There are 4 shops on this level. 2 of them have permanent power-ups in them. This outer ring has those Venus flytraps hanging out in the single wide path, ready to toss you into bad areas. It's not that bad. This is one of the stores that has that. We're going to take the permanent shot increase. The northern store is the other one that has a permanent stat increase. The southern store and the western store do not have anything really worth picking up. Although a blast scroll here is awfully handy. Still have that key card I picked up a while ago. We should be seeing what it's used for in a couple of stages. On the far side of the store, kind of just walking around here to demonstrate what they have. If I remember correctly, these are the last stores in the game, so after this point, money is worthless. And watch me run into another store soon. Oh, I was wrong about which store has the other power-up in it. Must be the western store then. Now we need to get into the center area because the dead center is where the exit is. But there's no secret passage here, so this is the first stage where we're going to have to rely on the fly traps shooting us into the into another section of the map. Another trick that they use a lot in these final few stages. Because I won't be able to control anything about where I land, I am using the repel scroll so that I will not be instantly annihilated by the slime monsters that are hanging out in there. There we go. Fortunately, they're just going to come just close enough to me to get affected by the repel field and then run away. Which is really annoying behavior. You're trying to clear them out and prevent them from spawning further on top of you. can't get in there, so riding that into the exit square. Oh, more secret doors! This is a kind of a funny maze of one of narrow corridors where there's essentially two kind of embedded loops of passages, and you have to just find a secret passage that will let you get from one side to the other. And then once you're on the other side, you can use the fly traps to get around to the exit. Very simple stage once you understand the trick to it. It's just annoying to navigate because you're looking for trap doors by pressing up against walls as quickly as you can, and then you're also getting sucked up by those fly traps. I shouldn't have gone through that secret door there. That one will just spit me out to the start, so we need to cross here. Now we can just kind of run out towards the exit. Alrighty. I think this is the last stage with the good old-fashioned enemies that we're used to. There's a whole new set for the rest of the game after this. Say goodbye to the flood of spiders. Oh, there is one more store. That store is tricky, though. You can see that there's potions that are blocking your access to different areas. There also hasn't been a lot of treasure to pick up since we passed that last store. So it's mainly the treasure that you collect on this stage that you can use. I don't want to buy those potions, so I intentionally shoot them. More shots would not hurt. Blast scroll is the last thing we're going to need. Speed's actually probably going to be the most useful coming up here. I think my shots are strong enough at this point to deal with the enemies that are coming up. Level 36, you might as well just start using up your potions. It's not like you can take them with you. Not a hard exit to get to, but obviously I want to try to collect what I can from this stage. Those keys are going to be much less useful soon as well. Didn't really get anywhere near enough gold. This is the last room with stuff in it on this stage. That's what I'd like to get, but just not enough cash. So, we're off to the end game. Robots! That's right, we've really entered the sci-fi mode here now, and there's more of those key cards. The key cards are just keys to the doors here, which look like lasers. They don't even hurt you if you walk into the lasers. You just press up against them like you would any other door. Used a repel there just because I wasn't 100% sure how to deal with the robots, so better safe than sorry, but I've clearly got enough shot power to manage these guys, so it didn't make that much of a difference. The robots are not the only sci-fi enemy we're going to run into here. I decided to go back for the spare key card just to be safe. Wasn't really necessary, but felt more secure. More robots and beach balls! Those spiky robots are really dangerous. But they're sneaky. Spiders are really annoying on that black background. Okay, so I've shot that robot. I have to run away from them. Because what they do is, after you shoot them, about a second later, they cause a blast. Just like if you had used a scroll, except that blast also hurts you. You can see I just took a bit of damage there. So you have to get a little bit more than one screen away to be safe. But they'll also trigger chain reactions. You can see them taking out a whole bunch of robots. There's part of that effect. I don't know why I opened that door. That was completely pointless. So here we're actually getting a little bit of the story. The alien's name is Naj, which, gee, that's the name of the programmer spelled backwards. What an odd coincidence. That's not a nice way to set this up, is it? Fortunately, I have one of those. Permanent strength enhancer? Sure, why not? Heck, you might as well use the power scroll now, too. There's only 2 stages left. And we're gonna hit the, well, we're gonna hit something special soon. Really not worth it to collect anything else from this point on in the game. I think I should make a bit of a drive here. The big issue is I'm worried about my health. It can vanish fast in this game, and it'd be really bad to, you know, get a game over at stage 39. That power scroll didn't really go very far in terms of carrying, but I did it. was probably overcapacity from the results of that earlier power scroll I read. Cubes are truly a threatening enemy. A little bit more story as we come into the end here. Puzzle the plants obviously means I'm going to be bouncing between fly traps for a while. Yeah, put the key right next to the door. That's... oh, geez. That's probably the cleverest thing in this game. I love that they have that, the one and only boss in the game, carry over into the interface area. I don't know if you saw it earlier, but he does breathe fire if you get a little bit closer. I'm trying to clean out the sorcerers before I move in. But as we approach it, you'll also see something else. Seeing if there's any health potions back this way, but I don't think there are. Treasure pots don't do you a lot of good right now. Brown potions, who wants that? There has not been a whole lot of healing in these last few stages. So I try to zip around, and there's a hatch on his back that a little alien hops out of and makes a run for it. It's kind of hard to see him in the middle of those effects. Okay, now, this is super easy area. The biggest complication here is that you could bounce between these plants for a while before you figure out the maze. If your strength isn't high enough, you're taking a ton of damage off these plants. My strength is pretty high, and I'm taking over 100 every time I walk into one. There's that gem we've heard so much about. I'm going to try to read that screen there clearly, but what's going to happen is, well, I'm going to clear out these robots. Since that screen's got the text that's essentially the end of the game for us. Every time I approach the screen and start trying to read it, more robots show up. And since that's such a long message, I'm only getting little bits and pieces at a go. Alright, so the basics of this message is that he wants me to drop that gem and then leave. But it's a giant gem. I'm collecting treasure. Who cares about him? You can fight the alien if you want by throwing stuff at him or bumping into him. He's invulnerable, he does damage to you, doesn't do anything. Instead, you could just say, well, you can take a quick look here as I just try to shoot him. I'm gonna go try to bump into him. Yeah, if you approach him wrong, he'll do damage to you, but... The exit is down here. So I'm just gonna leave. And this is the winning screen. And you can see my samurai emerges from the dungeon. With a nifty gemstone on his belt. Look at that smile on his face. He's got a giant gem. Let's see. That's the bad ending. Let's see the good ending. Kind of close to him. Here, take your stupid gem. And something you might have noticed is if you're playing for score, helping the alien is actually worth less points. You get 1 point for helping the alien, or 10,000 points for walking out of the dungeon with the gem.